Hey everyone, welcome back to the Borderless Network, your go-to channel for everything you need to know about living, working, and studying abroad. Today's topic is a serious one, and it's something that's been making headlines across the UK and beyond. We're going to talk about the recent anti-immigration riots in the UK and what these developments could mean for those of you who are planning to study or work in the country. Now, this is a complex and sensitive issue, so we're going to take a deep dive into what's been happening, why it's happening, and how it could potentially impact your future plans. We'll be covering the background of these riots, the socio-political context in which they're occurring, the potential implications for immigrants, and finally, some advice on how to navigate these uncertain times if you're planning to move to the UK. So, let's get started. To begin with, let's take a look at the timeline of events that have led us to this point. Over the past year, the UK has seen a significant increase in anti-immigration protests. These demonstrations have occurred in several major cities, including London, Manchester, and Birmingham. Initially, these protests started as peaceful demonstrations, with groups voicing their concerns about immigration levels, cultural integration, and the strain they believe immigration places on public services. However, as time has gone on, some of these protests have escalated into violent riots. We've seen clashes between protesters and the police, vandalism, and even instances of hate crimes against immigrant communities. The media has covered these events extensively, and they've sparked a lot of debate both in the UK and internationally. So why is this happening? To understand the roots of these riots, we need to delve into the broader socio-political context in the UK. Over the past few years, the UK has undergone significant changes, particularly since the Brexit vote in 2016. Brexit was largely driven by concerns about immigration and the desire for the UK to regain control over its borders. Since then, the UK has seen a rise in nationalist sentiment, with some segments of the population feeling increasingly uneasy about the levels of immigration. Economic factors also play a crucial role in this situation. The UK, like many countries, has faced economic challenges in recent years, including rising unemployment and housing shortages. For some people, immigrants have become an easy target to blame for these issues, even though the reality is much more complex. This has created an environment where anti-immigrant sentiments can easily take root and spread. It's also important to consider the impact of political rhetoric. Some politicians and public figures have capitalized on these sentiments, using them to gain support. This has, in turn, legitimized anti-immigrant views for some people, leading to the kind of unrest we're seeing now. But what does all of this mean for those of you who are planning to study or work in the UK? Let's break it down. First and foremost, it's essential to recognize that the UK remains a multicultural society with strong institutions that protect the rights of immigrants. The legal framework that governs immigration is still robust, and there are many people in the UK who continue to support and value the contributions of immigrants. Universities, for example, are still very much open to international students, and many employers actively seek out skilled workers from abroad. However, there's no denying that the current climate could lead to some changes in immigration policy. We've already seen some politicians in the UK calling for stricter immigration controls in response to these protests. This could result in tighter visa requirements, a more selective immigration process, or even restrictions on certain types of visas. For students, this might mean changes to the availability of scholarships or post-study work opportunities. For professionals, there could be shifts in the sectors that are most welcoming to foreign workers, or in the requirements for obtaining sponsorship. Let's talk a bit more about the potential changes to student visas. The UK has been a top destination for international students for many years, and its universities are among the best in the world. However, with the rise in anti-immigration sentiment, there's a possibility that the government could introduce new measures to limit the number of international students. This could include increasing tuition fees for non-UK students, reducing the number of student visas granted each year, or tightening the rules around post-study work visas. This is particularly concerning because one of the major draws of studying in the UK is the opportunity to work there after graduation. Many international students choose the UK not just for its education system, but also for the chance to gain work experience in a global business hub. If the government decides to restrict post-study work visas, it could significantly impact your ability to stay and work in the UK after you finish your studies. Now, let's move on to professionals. If you're considering moving to the UK for work, you might be wondering how these riots and the surrounding political climate could affect you. One possibility is that the government could become more selective in the types of visas it issues, prioritizing certain industries over others. For example, there could be a focus on attracting talent in sectors where there is a skills shortage, such as healthcare or technology, while making it more difficult for workers in other industries to obtain visas. We could also see changes in the sponsorship requirements for work visas. Currently, many foreign workers come to the UK through employer sponsorship, where a company must prove that they need to hire someone from outside the UK because they can't find the necessary skills within the country. If the government decides to tighten these requirements, it could make it more challenging for employers to sponsor foreign workers, particularly in industries where the demand for labor isn't as high. Another potential change could be in the public perception of immigrants. Even if the legal framework remains the same, the rise in anti-immigration sentiment could make it more difficult for immigrants to feel welcome in the UK. We've already seen instances of hate crimes and discrimination against immigrant communities, and there's a risk that this could increase if anti-immigrant rhetoric continues to gain traction. This could affect your overall experience in the UK, from finding housing to integrating into the local community. So, what can you do if you're planning to study or work in the UK? First and foremost, it's crucial to stay informed. Keep an eye on any changes to immigration policies and be prepared to adapt your plans if necessary. This might mean applying for visas earlier than you initially planned, or considering alternative destinations if the situation in the UK becomes too uncertain. If you're already in the UK or planning to go soon, try to connect with local communities and support networks. This can help you feel more secure and integrated, even in the face of uncertainty. There are many organizations and groups in the UK that offer support to immigrants, from legal advice to social activities, and getting involved in these can make a big difference. It's also worth considering your options in terms of where you choose to live and work. The UK is a diverse country, and attitudes towards immigration can vary significantly depending on the region. Some areas may be more welcoming and offer a better experience for immigrants, so it's worth doing your research and considering this when making your plans. Finally, remember that while these riots are concerning, they do not represent the views of all UK citizens. The country remains a diverse and vibrant place, with plenty of opportunities for those willing to work hard and contribute. There are still many people in the UK who value and support immigration, and this is something that shouldn't be forgotten in the midst of all the noise. In conclusion, the anti-immigration riots in the UK are a worrying development, but they shouldn't necessarily deter you from pursuing your dreams of studying or working there. It's important to stay informed, stay connected, and be prepared to adapt your plans if needed. The UK still has much to offer international students and professionals, and with the right approach, you can still have a successful and fulfilling experience. Thank you for watching the Borderless Network. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. Let's continue to navigate these challenging times together, and I'll see you in the next video.